वन्दे गुरुणां चरणारविन्दे साहस्रशिरसां श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिम्। 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 वन्दे गुरुणां प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिम् वन्दे गुरुणां चरणारविन्दे साहस्रशिरसां श्वेतं 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 प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिम् वन्दे गुरुणां चरणारविन्दे वन्दे गुरुणां
This event takes place
Yes.
at 306 seconds into the flight.
Bile.
At this point of time, the
Namnada da
altitude
bu
is
birisi.
175 kilometers and the rocket would have acquired 4.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very special video of the GunTour. Today, we're going to be covering the live stream, the launch of the Chandrayan 3, India's moon lander, and we are live with ISRO. This is going to be amazing, guys. The launch hasn't started yet, and we're just hearing what the ISRO officials have to say about the rocket and the process through which the rocket will go through right now. So guys, stay tuned and we'll be back to you in a minute.
Is scheduled to take place at 969.7 seconds into the flight. The altitude will be 179.3 kilometers, which is a part of elliptical transfer orbit of 170 by 36,500 kilometers. From then on, the moon craft Chandrayan 3 would commence its journey to the moon.
इस मिशन का काउंटडाउन 25.5 घंटे पूर्व शुरू हो चुका है और इस दौरान रॉकेट तथा अंतरिक्ष यान को पावर ऑन कर सभी खतरों की स्वास्थ्य जांच की जा रही है।
We're looking at all the guests of ISRO that are going to be watching this this launch. This is going to be a lot of important people, politicians, high-level officials that are sitting in the center of the place. A lot of people, a lot of normal citizens have arrived to the Satish Dhawan Space Center, and they will have a very nice show of a very big rocket launching into space and reaching the moon. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this time the Chandrayan-3, the moon lander of the Chandrayan-3 will reach the moon. But I'm not really sure when the launch is going to take place. From what I've heard, it will launch at 2:35, and right now the time is what's the time, Arman?
We bring to you
India time.
a small clipping of the integration video for the LVM-3 rocket.
It's right now, I think, 1:40 Indian time. But I might be no, it's 2:10 India time. So we still have 30 minutes to go. Guys, right now ISRO is showing us the process of the union of the different parts of the booster vehicle. This is part of the big LSMV launch vehicle.
Nozzle end segment, middle segment and head end segment, to which the nozzle is assembled, and one after the other the segments are joined together. When the fully assembled solid rocket booster is handled carefully with a crane and being lowered on
How's the
while
voice?
launch pedestal as an integrated rocket, the igniter assembly
Guys, I just want to say this is our first live stream on the channel, and we are experiencing some technical difficulties, and that's why
on your TV
you might see some weird stuff on screen. But I mean on the window, because I'm still trying to figure out how this whole system works. But I'm very excited that this is our first live stream. And guys, if there are any questions, write in the comment section below. It's gonna be amazing. Tell me which cities you're from, and of course share the link of this live stream as much as you can, so that we have a lot of subscribers, a lot of viewers that will see this amazing moment when the Chandrayan-3 will be launched. And we have our first commentators. Akhil Gupta, can I get a shout out? Hi, of course you can get a shout out. A great shout out to Akhil Gupta. But do write in the comment section below which city you're from, guys. I really want to know where my subscribers are from.
चंद्रयान 2 के पश्चात इसमें काफी सुधार किए गए हैं।
Wow. Okay. Now I think they're showing us the payload. So the upper part would be the orbiter, and the lower part would be the moon lander. This is, and you see it's all covered in this gold foil. I think because gold has some special properties that help in insulation or whatever. I mean, I'm not an engineer. We have a slight problem, guys. Hold on while our technical team fixes the issues. I mean, not my technical team, but my friend who is working with me. Arman, that's his name. Arman, are we good?
I think we are good.
You sure? All right.
सभी परीक्षण पूर्ण होने के पश्चात
So we have a lot of viewers at this moment. This is very, very exciting because of the fact that this is our first live stream on the GunTour channel, and hopefully not the last. We're going to be covering a lot of important things that will happen around the world on our live streams that we should be doing weekly. I mean, I want to do these much more often, but first we have to figure out how to fix all the technical problems that we are facing. Now, I mean, I think these are the scenes of the big launch vehicle, the rocket entering
Vehicle assembly
the
building से निकलकर
the launch pad.
लॉन्च पैड
So
की ओर जा रहा है
yeah, these are some
इसे
very
मोबाइल लॉन्च
incredible
पेडेस्टल पर रखकर
scenes, ladies and gentlemen, because
1 किलोमीटर की
this
दूरी
is
तय
a
की
very
जाती है।
historical moment. I mean, the last time in 2019, I was watching the Chandrayan 2 getting launched, and it was beautiful. And I was also seeing the Chandrayan 2, the payload, the orbiter entering into orbit, and but unfortunately,
और बाकी की
the
स्वास्थ्य जांच यहाँ से
the
पूरी की
lander went off track, went off the trajectory, and it went down. Unfortunately, we lost connection to that. All good?
की जांच तथा यहाँ संपन्न किया जाता है।
We're still fixing the technical issues that we're facing, ladies and gentlemen. Please stay online. Oh wow! I mean, I think the weather is great for the launch. Of course, they choose the right days. They check the forecast and they make sure that everything is perfect for a good launch.
Vehicle has been operationalized after an experimental and 2 developmental missions. Mission executives on your screen.
So the Chandrayan 2 launch, Alex gave us a nice question about the first launches. Now, I only watched the second launch, and in the second launch, the orbiter was successfully launched into the moon orbit, but the lander went off, the Vikram lander, that's what it was called, it went off the trajectory, and we lost contact with it. Of course, it crashed, but the current one, the Chandrayan 3's moon launcher, has some additional cameras and sensors all around the vehicle so that it can be properly launched on the moon. And hopefully nothing will go wrong this time. I have a lot of faith in my ISRO scientists. These ISRO scientists have a lot of experience in because of Chandrayan 3, the Mangalyaan, and hopefully nothing will go wrong this time. Also, it's carrying a very special payload. Now, I would really refer you to my previous video that we uploaded a few days ago. It was on the Chandrayan 3, and we went in depth on what is involved in the making of the Chandrayan 3, all the components of the Chandrayan 3. Of course, we weren't able to go through the entire list of the components of the Chandrayan 3 because it is a very technical, it's a very technical thing, and I'm not really an engineer, but of course, I'm very much interested in this. One very interesting package that the lander has, it is the shape camera. Now, the shape camera has a very interesting thing. It will be watching the universe, the sky from the moon, and it will be reading the light signatures of the Earth so that we can have an understanding of how a life-sustaining planet like the Earth, what type of light signature it has, so that when we're looking at the rest of the galaxy, of the universe, we can identify in the universe through such cameras which planets may be life-supporting, because then we would already have the light signature of the Earth. So very interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen, are on the lander. Of course, the original orbiter, the moon orbiter from the Chandrayan 2 is still in orbit of the moon, and it will be used as a backup signal relay system to Earth, and the new orbiter that will be coming with the Chandrayan 3, it will also be carrying extra fuel. It will also be working as a signals relay system, the primary signals relay system. That's what I think. Also, the Chandrayan 3 is something that the entire country is waiting for. Just look at the amount of people that are sitting in the stands. I mean, of course, you can see that it's very hot, it's very sunny in the region. That's why people are carrying so many umbrellas. So, yeah, and they're extremely excited. I mean, I'm also excited because this is just amazing. But I want to see more scenes of the launch vehicle. I want to see more scenes of the rocket itself. But of course, a lot of people are eagerly waiting to see the launch of this beautiful vehicle. And of course, we don't have much time left. I think we have
lasted for 25 and a half hours. It was commenced on
All right, I'm trying to
1:30
understand
p.m.
when
yesterday.
the launch is going to begin.
During countdown,
I think it's going to start in about 15 minutes. So we're going to be staying with you for another 15 minutes, and then we're going to be focusing on the then on the launch itself. All right, so we have Abhay Saini, Jai Hind Abhay, Kumar Aniket Lucknow. Hi Kumar.
लॉन्च सीक्वेंस शुरू कर दिया है
Wow, it is
लॉन्च व्हीकल
is
LV4
Akshat Gupta.
ऑटोमेटिक लॉन्च सीक्वेंस के अंतर्गत है इसका मतलब
Akshat Gupta, thanks for being with us. Do reply to the comments as well. Guys, the comment section is going to be wild because a very live discussion is taking place there. Send it to your friends, send it to your students, send it to everyone so that they can see what a historical moment this is, and tell them to enter that comment sections. I will be reading each and every single one of your comments because I really want to know what my viewers think. And of course, I don't want them to miss such an important moment in Indian history when the Indian Space Research Organization, our very own domestic space organization, is going to be launching this Chandrayan 3. And of course, we have to reach the moon this time. LMV-3 M4 mission. Now I think they're just taking a break. They're taking a break from the live stream. Probably some advertisement is going on. Now, guys, I just want to talk to you about space programs in general. Like, I don't know if you've gone deep into the history of rocket systems, because rockets are the primary vehicle that send payload to space, to the sky, because a rocket is the most powerful thing we have created. Aside of nuclear weapons. So the first rockets that we saw were the V1 and the V2 rockets that were created by Germany during the Second World War. The Germans had a very strong rocket program, and they were bombing London through those rockets because the rockets would be launched from German-occupied France during the Second World War, and they would reach London, they would reach Dover, which are very important cities in England, and that was something very, very, for that time and age, something very, very crazy, because how could you create an unmanned rocket that would cross the English Channel and hit their targets? They were not very accurate because the scientists at the time, the engineers at the time, hadn't really figured out how to create a proper navigation system for those rockets. Of course, they did not have GPS systems. They did not have any other. They probably had some inertial navigation systems at the time, but that was still a very new thing at the moment. Now, what we have is we have satellites, we have a lot of data, we have a lot of experience. But something very interesting that I want to tell you is that the same scientists, the same engineers went from Germany. After Germany lost the Second World War to the Allies, many of the scientists, they moved to the United States and they created take a guess, NASA. So it's a very controversial thing that is going on with NASA, because a lot of people in the world say that NASA was actually created by Nazi scientists. And since the space program or the rocket program in Germany ended abruptly since they lost the war, it made sense for them to move into other places. But then the moral aspect comes in, where should you be sponsoring, should you be hiring former Nazi scientists that were part of the Nazi party in Germany? So this is a very controversial thing. Then NASA was created. NASA is a very successful space organization. The Russians also, the Soviet Union, or the Russians, or the whole Soviet Union in general, they also had a very successful space program. They were the first people, the Soviets, to put a satellite into the Earth orbit, into space. And then they were the first people to put a man into space, and his name was Yuri Gagarin. Yuri Gagarin was the first man in space. But then the Americans sent their first astronauts to the moon, which is also again a very controversial topic. There are a lot of moon launch deniers in the world that say that the Americans actually did not reach the moon. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I tend to look at every side of the argument and to add to both arguments and then try to come up with my own opinion. But I haven't come up with my own opinion because there's a lot of information that we don't know still. And the thing that I would like to say is that the moon landing was a very big turning point in the world space programs, because we reached a milestone, and that was the moon. And that milestone was very expensive to reach, was very, very controversial as well, because they said, why is the flag, the American flag, waving on the moon when you should understand that there is no atmosphere on the moon? And also, how come there was how come NASA lost all the original footage, the photos and the videos? Okay, we're coming back to the ISRO live stream. I mean, we're back at the ISRO live stream, and this guy is the main scientist of ISRO. These are a lot of very important people that are watching the moon launch. I mean, everybody is super eager to see what is happening.
Chandrayan 3 has two predecessors with destination moon as their mission objective.
So Boris,
Chandrayan 1 launched by PSLV
the moon rocket, the moon lander is very important for India, because Chandrayan 2's moon orbiter reached moon orbit. But at the same time, the moon lander, which was called the Vikram lander, it went off the trajectory, the planned trajectory of landing on the moon. And therefore, it lost contact with the orbiter, it lost contact with Earth, and it crashed. So that's why the Chandrayan 3 was launched, this new program was launched to make sure that we have a lander on the moon. And it's reaching the other side of the moon that nobody has ever reached yet, because of the fact that we will have some very unique data from this mission. We will receive a lot of unique data, we'll receive a lot of unique images, a lot of unique videos, because the payload on the moon lander is very, very unique. NASA actually provided a very important camera for the Vikram, not the Vikram lander, but the Chandrayan 3's moon lander. And it's called the SHAPE camera. It is a very special camera because it has the capacity to record the light signature of Earth. And as you know, Earth is a life-supporting planet. We live on Earth. We haven't reached Mars yet. I mean, I'm talking about a manned mission, but I'm digressing. So the SHAPE camera can record the light signature of Earth, and we will be able to use the data to monitor the entire universe, galaxies, and see which other planets, which other extraterrestrial bodies have access or have the exact same light signature or a similar light signature, so that we can understand that they have also life-supporting capacities. And then maybe we can even one day in 100 years or 500 years even reach those planets, which might even be many light years away. So this is a very important payload that the moon lander will be carrying. And of course, we have to understand that this is a very important milestone for India to reach, because, as you know, all the major powers, USA, Soviet Union, Russia, they've all reached somehow very, very important milestones when it comes to space research. So that's why it's very important for us to reach the moon. Also, now they're talking about the different parts of the rocket.
10 phases of the mission are: the first phase, called the Earth-centric phase, comprises of
So now we have they're talking about the mission sequence, and in which there are many phases of the launch. So today we'll be watching the first phase, which is the pre-launch phase, when they're preparing the rocket and it's going to be prepared for launch. And then the second part of the phase 1 would be launch, and it would ascend into orbit or enter space. Then there would be the Earth-bound maneuver phase, where the rocket will probably use the gravity of the Earth, gravity of the Moon, and will be launched into space. Then there will be the lunar transfer phase, in which they will have a specific trajectory for the rocket to reach the Moon. It's called the transfer trajectory phase. Then we have the third phase, which is the moon-centric phase. And of course, we'll get to that later, because the moon-centric phase is we will see that in a few days. And of course, we will be covering that with the live stream as well when the moon phase will happen, because it won't happen all today. And today we will just see the launch of the rocket. And that is also something very important, because a lot of rockets, I mean, I'm sure you've seen a lot of SpaceX videos, a lot of NASA videos, in which their main rockets, they would just, during the ascension, during the launch, they would just fail, because a lot of things can go wrong, because this is a very, very difficult part of the space program, because launching a vehicle that weighs tons, and for it to break away from the gravitational force of the Earth and enter into the Moon, enter the space, is something mind-blowing. Guys, the amount of energy, the amount of force, the amount of thrust that is needed for such a heavy vehicle to break away from the gravitational force and enter the space, enter the cosmos, is something mind-blowing. I mean, I don't know how the scientists have done it. I mean, of course, I always wanted to be an astronomer. I don't know if I have the capacity to become an astronomer. Of course, you need to do a lot of studies. You have to dedicate your life to that profession. And I don't know. Oh, we have now 4 minutes left to lift off, guys. So T minus 4 minutes. And let's check out our comments. So we have a lot of comments, guys.
From the heritage of Chandrayan 2, the Chandrayan
I'm new
3
to
is
the
a
Indian
very
space
critical
program. Who
aspect
was
for
the
the
first
enhanced
Indian
robustness
space
of
scientist?
extensive ground
Great
testing
question,
and simulation.
Arman. We'll have to get back to you on that. Can you please move your camera top right? All right. So as you know, my friend Arman, he's also commenting at the same time. He's sitting right in front of me, but he's still commenting in the chat. I mean, why not? I mean, of course, he probably has lost his voice. Pray everything will go smoothly. Yes, Boris, we are praying that everything will go smoothly. This is something very important for India. I mean, not just for India, to be honest, because this is a very unique moon lander. It is carrying a very unique payload, and it will be very important for the world, because the data that it will be able to gather from all the sensors and the cameras that it's carrying to the moon, this is going to be very unique data, and this will help scientists, not just Indian scientists, but scientists all around the world, to study the universe a bit better, to learn something more about the moon itself, because it is landing on a side of the moon that not many countries have reached. I mean, it's probably untouched, that area of the moon. We will soon find out more details when the moon lander, God willing, when the moon lander reaches the moon, because last time the moon lander was launched from the Chandrayan 2 launch vehicle, we had an unfortunate incident. The moon lander went off the trajectory, and it lost contact with the communication systems. It lost contact with the Earth, and it unfortunately crashed. But due to the fact that there are many sensors involved, much more sensors involved in this particular launch vehicle, moon lander, it should go smoothly. I mean, we have to learn from past experience, past mistakes. So, I mean, there's a very beautiful scene in which Prime Minister Modi is hugging the crying head of the Indian Space Research Organization, And because, I mean, of course, everyone was very sad, very disappointed that this happened. But at the same time, we are very proud of our scientists, of our engineers that still made such a huge leap for us in our space research program. 56 seconds, guys, T-minus 56 seconds to launch. Whew. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps at this moment. This is going to be great. We need to win the space race, guys. We need to reach the moon. We need to get all that intel, all that data, so that our scientists and our engineers can go forward. All right, minus 30 seconds. I mean, this is a beautiful rocket. I mean, as you can see, it has 3 boosters, and after it reaches a certain height, a certain altitude, they will all break up, and then the final vehicle will launch into the space. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow. Okay.
Here we have a majestic liftoff of LV.
Beautiful liftoff, guys.
Carrying India's prestigious Chandrayan 3 spacecraft.
All right, guys. The launch is, for now, successful. I mean, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to jinx it, but it's going beautifully. Just look at that beautiful rocket just launching into space. Just look at the fire beam from those massive engines, the Indian rocket, ladies and gentlemen. This is what our scientists, what our Indian engineers are capable of doing. Just look at that beautiful vehicle. I want you to write in the comment section below what is the force, the thrust of those boosters, of those rockets right now. The power that is needed to power this multi-ton launch vehicle into space, into orbit, is just mind-blowing. I mean, I wish I was there to see this live. I want to cover it live from the Satish Chandra Space Station. And that would be just amazing. Just look at that. Satish Dhawan Space Center. Yeah, that's the launch site. Just look at that.
S200 motors thrusting simultaneously, generating a peak thrust of close to 6,000 kilonewtons in vacuum. They are made of
This is amazing, guys. Our first live stream, ladies and gentlemen, of the GunTour. And it is also going... I mean, we had some problems in the beginning to, setting up this whole system because this is our first live stream. We should have done a test run, but we weren't able to. So, at the same time, our liftoff was also successful, just like the ISRO's liftoff. Now, the second stage and the third stage, I'm waiting to find out what will happen. Then, I really want the moon lander to enter into the planned trajectory this time. Okay, guys, the booster rockets have been separated from the main rocket, and now the main rocket is just pummeling through the upper stratosphere, and it will enter the space very soon. I mean, I still can't. I mean, every time I watch a moon launch or a rocket launch, it is mind-blowing. But this time, ladies and gentlemen, this is something special because this is something made by the Indian Space Research Organization. It is very close to every patriotic Indian because we are reaching milestones that 20 years ago we would think that this would take a lot of time and it would be probably very difficult to achieve. But as you see, our scientists and our engineers are doing this perfectly. Like the scenes that we are seeing right now of the digital, the renders of the launch and the trajectory. It's keeping the trajectory. It's keeping the plan is going good. So I'm just going to read some comments, guys. We have a lot of comments. Arman, do I want to fly into space? No. I mean, I would maybe, but no. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't want to go into space because I mean, I like Earth. I don't want to risk my life.
5 kilometers.
I'm not saying that I don't trust these systems, of course, these are great systems. As you see, this is successful and many manned space missions are successful. But at the same time, I don't want to risk my life. I love being on Earth. I love breathing this air. I don't want to breathe air from a gas tank, you know. So I want to look at trees. I want to look at buildings. I want to go see my friends, have a beer. I can't do that in space yet. I mean, of course, if we build a colony on the moon or on Mars and we have some nice bars there, I would love to visit. But I mean, then we would need to find some faster ways of traveling there. Not that it would take days to get from one planet to another. At the same time, ladies and gentlemen, this is a wonderful moment for our country. I mean, for the world as well, because Indian scientists and Indian engineers reaching space, reaching the moon, reaching Mars, and maybe even much more. That is something important for the world because the expertise that we bring into this field is just mind-blowing. I mean, look at NASA. I'm sure there are so many Indian scientists at NASA, in SpaceX, in Tesla, in all these companies because Indian engineers and scientists have reached very big heights. And this is living proof of that. This launch is living proof of that. And we have entered another phase, ladies and gentlemen.
The stage has started its operation. The C-25
Yeah.
stage has been ignited.
C-25 stage has been ignited, and it's, as you see, it's changing its trajectory.
इंजन का इग्निशन और इसके प्रज्वलन के साथ ही तालियों की गड़गड़ाहट से गूंज उठा है मिशन नियंत्रण।
Now, this is beautiful. Just look at, I want you to compare what you saw in the beginning, such a huge launch vehicle with those massive booster rockets, to what you see right now. I mean, 1/3 of that is left. Just the orbiter, the moon lander, and the booster rocket, ladies and gentlemen, and of course the navigation systems. And these are newer navigation systems. Now, I want to tell you a difference between the payload of Chandrayan 2 and Chandrayan 3. Now, this time the payload is a bit different because a lot of components that we wanted to enter the moon orbit have already reached there through Chandrayan 2. Now, what we have is that it's carrying, the payload is carrying a lot more fuel for better orbiting of the moon. So, 28 tons is the payload, from what I understand, from what the ISRO scientists are saying at the moment. Yeah. Can I get some water, please? Thanks. Yeah, a lot. I mean, I think just look at the faces of all the guests of ISRO, of all the scientists, of all the engineers. I'm sure they have had a sigh of relief because this first phase is going normal, thank God. And I mean, the amount of energy, the amount of hard work, all the sweat, blood, and tears that you put into this program, and then when you see that it's taking fruit, when you see that it's launched and it's not crashed yet, I mean, it's a great feeling, and because I've seen a lot of scenes when NASA rockets and SpaceX rockets, they fall down mid-launch, and that is just so sad to see the faces of the scientists and the engineers that spent years working on those programs. It is, but at ISRO, we don't have that. Our launch is successful, ladies and gentlemen. The launch vehicle has entered space, is entering space. So you see now they're showing us all the different components that are entering space from ISRO, and then they will reach the moon orbit and the moon as well. Yeah, this is just beautiful.
The propulsion module provides propulsion for earthbound maneuvers, translunar injection, and moonbound orbits. It also has a payload to study
range
the spectral
1346 kilometers, 1351 kilometers. It's going at a speed of 5 to 6 kilometers per second. Now, I don't know, I'm a speed freak, I love speed, but 5 or 6 kilometers per second, guys, it is mind-blowing. I wouldn't sit in that car that would go so fast. I think I'll just become paced. if I sit in such a vehicle. And but the good thing about driving a rocket is that, I mean, there is no traffic police in space, so you can definitely have a beer on the rocket and, you know, continue driving, because I don't think that there are space traffic police at the moment in space, especially on the highway from Earth to the moon.
The rover, after its descent, will further scientific study objectives through its own payloads. For better understanding of chemical and mineralogical composition of lunar
Propulsion module, payload, the shape. I mean, I was telling you about the shape module, LIBS, laser-induced breakdown spectroscope, alpha particle, X-ray spectrometer to derive the chemical composition, blah, blah, blah. I mean, these are very interesting components that the moon lander is carrying, ladies and gentlemen, because they will be able to carry, they'll be able to record very important data for our scientists to then work on their next missions. I mean, if you wanna go to Mars, you have to reach moon first. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching Elon Musk. I mean, Elon Musk has gone crazy about Mars, because that's his whole life mission. He wants to reach Mars. He wants to build a colony there. He thinks that is his main purpose in life, to reach Mars. I mean, personally, to be honest, I don't see the point. It is ugly planet. It has bad air. I don't even think there is any water over there. I mean, and why would anyone go there? Because, I mean, I understand scientists are crazy. If it weren't for scientists, we would not reach the levels of technology, the levels of the heights that we have received at the moment. But I would not go to Mars. I would stay on Earth. I love my Earth. I mean, this is a beautiful planet. It has everything we need: water, air, good beer. I mean, what else do you need? Good food. I can go to the shop, buy some food, you know, and I don't have to worry about food running out here, because you go to the market, you have food over there. You don't have any supermarkets on Mars or on the moon. I mean, so yeah. What are they? All right, let's read some comments. $90 million. All right, Knight, where are you from, sir? Well, Mr. Knight, I am from India. I am from a small state called Haryana. I mean, of course, I think you're Indian as well, so I mean, you would know where that is. I mean, when you go a bit south from Haryana, you enter the state of Rajasthan, you see the Thar Desert. I mean, that looks a bit like Mars, because there is also no water over there. I mean, it's very dry over there. And because I've seen that, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it's much better to live in places where there are rivers, where there are trees, not Mars or the moon. But again, the shape, the thing that the moon lander is carrying, the shape box, which has the special cameras to find the light signatures of life-supporting planets, it will help us to identify more life-supporting planets similar to Earth. And then, I mean, if the world gets overpopulated, we can transfer to those future possible life-supporting planets, right? But first we have to identify where they are, and that's where, ladies and gentlemen, the shape comes in. I mean, shape was given to us, from what I understand, it was given to us by NASA. And so therefore we will be sharing data with NASA and with scientists all around the world. But we can then use that data to identify life-supporting planets and reach one day those life-supporting planets, even though I think that those planets are not within range at the moment. I don't think we have, I mean, the world has reached a point when you look at the material sciences that we have achieved yet. We don't have the right amount of material sciences at the moment to make such vehicles that could reach objects or extraterrestrial bodies that are light years away. But one day when we will be able to produce gravity propulsion engines, right, that is something that we haven't achieved yet. Gravity propulsion engines are specific engines that use gravitational forces of the universe, of the Earth, of different planets to propel it across space. But we haven't reached that point yet. So once we reach that point, once we identify where we want to go actually other than Mars. So I'm sorry, Elon Musk, Mars is not the most important thing in the universe. You need better planets to reach. I mean, okay, I understand. I mean, if you can't reach Mars yet, you cannot reach planets that are further ahead. I understand. So good job, Elon Musk. I'm not taking a crack at you. Without men, without entrepreneurs like Elon Musk, right? It's very hard to put all these things, to put all these plans into effect, right? Because Elon Musk is a very good planner. He's a really good entrepreneur. I mean, as you understand, Elon Musk himself is not a scientist. He has not discovered or invented anything. But he is a great planner. He is a great manager. He brings brains together from all over the world into one place, and then he realizes his dreams. He realized a multiple use rocket, and he did that with the Falcon 9. And that is something amazing, because every time we launch a rocket into space, it gets launched and then it is thrown away. And that is a big waste of resources. Elon Musk somehow has streamlined this whole process and has made rockets much more efficient, because now you can reuse the same rockets. They will go to space, they will launch whatever they want to launch, and then come back on Earth. So that is something that Elon Musk, kudos to him, right? But I just want to say, ISRO scientists, right? The scientists, the engineers that we have in the Indian Space Research Organizations, they are no less than NASA, and if not better. I mean, who knows? These are things that are very hard to measure, and they're very hard to measure because we started our research, our space research organization much later. Everything came into effect much later with us because of the turbulent times that we were going through. Wow. Now, guys, the payload, the launch vehicle, has separated once again. Okay. Wow, just look at these scenes, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the Chandrayan 3 has separated once again, and it is now, I think the final booster rocket has been thrown away, and the orbiter and the lander, the combined module, is going towards the moon now, ladies and gentlemen, because we have exited the Earth's gravitational force area. Just look at the faces of all these happy scientists, of the men and women at ISRO, because this was very important. I think this was the most difficult part of the mission, to exit the Earth's gravitational force, and then for the module, the moon lander and the orbiter to go towards the moon. This was a very important stage. All right. Now they're giving, he's getting a trophy which looks exactly like the Chandrayan 3, a miniature version of the launch vehicle. Just look how happy they are. I mean, it just brings tears to my eyes to see how the hard work of these men and women, how it is realizing, how it is coming to fruition. Yeah. Now I want to know in the comment section below when the module will enter the will reach the moon. I think it's going to be on the 17th of August, I think, right? Just give me 1 second, guys.
Chandrayan 3 craft into the precise orbit around Earth. 170 by 36,500 kilometers was its intended target orbit. It's precisely there now.
Let's hear what this guy or the head of ISRO has to say, chairman of ISRO.
Orbit racing maneuvers and travel towards moon in the coming days. So let me wish all the very best to Chandrayan 3 for its further journey towards moon. Before that, let me introduce the team behind this mission. The mission director, Mr. Mohan Kumar, and also the project director of LVM3, and we have also the mission director for the Chandrayan 3 craft, the project director of Chandrayan 3, Veera Muthuvil. So over to them. Mohan.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, they're of course explaining they're explaining how this whole mission came into being and everything. This is very beautiful.
Chairman ISRO and Secretary Department of Space, former secretaries of the department, invited dignitaries, respected dignitaries and invitees. I am very happy to report here that the LVM3 M4 vehicle has injected the Chandrayan 3 satellite to the precise orbit.
So what this scientist, this engineer is saying, that it has entered the precise orbit it needs to enter for it to reach the moon. And guys, it will take about 14 days, I think, plus minus 14 days to reach this whole process when it enters the moon orbit and it lands on the moon. It will take 14 days from this day. And I just want to say that we will of course be covering that moment as well. We will be doing a better live stream because guys, this is my first time in my life I'm doing a live coverage, a live show, and believe me, this was not easy. I'm so glad that you were with us today and watching our live stream, and of course being in the comment section. So I want to say, tune in, stay tuned for the updates, because in about 14 days we will have the final phase, when the moon orbiter enters into orbit and the moon lander lands on the moon, because that process will take place in about 14 days. Of course, we will be covering that in the live stream on that time. So stay tuned. Check out our Instagram. Check out our Instagram, because that's where I'll be posting the updates when the live stream will happen, when the separation of the moon orbiter and the moon lander will happen. So our Instagram.com, _GunTour. Please go there and subscribe, follow our channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, The GunTour, because here we bring you very unique content that not many channels bring you. Of course, we'll be doing a lot more of these live streams. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was the GunTour. This was the successful launch of the Chandrayan 3. And stay tuned, and I will see you very soon. Now, Arman will sign us out.
So many across the ISRO centers, our launch vehicle centers, VSSC, LPSC, IPRC, IASU, SDSC, SHAR.
वन्दे गुरुणां चरणारविन्दे साहस्रशिरसां श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिम् 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 वन्दे गुरुणां चरणारविन्दे